settlements. Right, in the last video I did, I looked at what are settlements and the 7 factors that encourages settlements. Today we're going to be looking at a field trip where we'll be looking at the title, an investigation into 3 factors influencing squatter settlements in a small community located in the parish of St. Catherine, Jamaica. Now, this task, in this field trip exercise, I'll be looking at 2 main objectives. These 2 main objectives are identify at least 3 factors influencing squatter settlements within the research area, which is a community in which I am looking at, and critically assess carefully possible consequences of squatter settlement within the research area. Okay. So let us look firstly at what are squatter settlements. Now, presently you are seeing some house looking structure. These are typical example of squatter settlements. However, not all squatter settlements are limited to structures looking like these. Right, squatter settlements are settlements wherein which there are no legal ownership to the property. So persons actually, in Jamaica term, they would say you capture the land. Now, squatter settlements are usually unplanned settlements, so therefore several basic amenities that would be needed and in constructing houses or buildings on some within certain spaces. Now, in the last video I shared with you 7 factors which influences. Today I'll be looking at squatter settlements. Now, squatter settlements are never normally planned. Therefore, the arrangement of houses are not normally structured properly. Houses are not normally structured according to the building code. So therefore, persons just put up a property, or should I say, construct buildings, and not really caring about the legality as to the distance from the roadway, allowing for water to flow along the property and all of that, right? And plus, you don't really have the legal ownership of the property. Also, you never normally find roads that are properly constructed within these areas. Within squatter settlements, normally you also do not have a well-structured, organized sanitary convenience. You might have persons having bathroom facilities, to get rid of their waste, but these are not never normally like that is sanctioned by the authorities. For example, persons might just capture a piece of land and they might just dig a hole and construct a pit on it, get water from the main that is running nearby from the neighboring community and actually attach it to their premises, and that would be their space. As far as squatter settlements is concerned, right, in Jamaica presently, right, the legality of premises, let's say that you practically venture on somebody's property, you can actually claim usage to that property after just living on that property for an average of 12 years. However, as far as government property is concerned, you have to be encroaching on that space for 60 years. So you can be there for up to 59 years and government say that they need the space and you have to move and there's no legal recourse. But as far as an individual might have a property existing somewhere and they are not using it for over 12 years and somebody's on it, that person might have a challenge actually reclaiming back their property. The underlying thing about squatter settlements is that the property is never normally legal, right? The acquisition of the property is never normally legal, right? Sometimes persons may lease property and we lease it with the intention of sale, but probably the leasee or probably say, should I say, the owner, right, might actually die before that transition can be made. So the leasee or the person who have actually leased the land might just claim ownership to the property because that was the initial agreement. However, there's still no legal ownership of the property. Squatter settlements, as I said before, have little or no plan infrastructure. So therefore, you wouldn't find police station, clinics, community centers, structured buildings that you would find in a normal plan community. You wouldn't find that within a squatter settlement, right? Within a squatter settlement, you will tend to find a lot of inconvenience as far as um being able to maneuver the roadway. You might not have stoplights, you might not have structured roadway, gullies might be makeshift. You might experience flooding because the squatters are the persons who actually reside within that space might not take into consideration the fact that one of the reasons why no one actually lived there or actually constructed a building within that space is primarily because the area is prone to flooding. And the ironic thing about it is that after years of after years of occupying squatter premises, or should I say premises that are not legally owned by an individual, right? After years of being on that property, and being flooded, they will call on the authority for assistance. Okay, squatter settlements is a problem within many
with squatter
countries throughout
settlements
the Caribbean. Come high instances of crime, social ills, inadequate sanitation, limited water supply, electricity, a lot of health concerns. You have instances of flooding. You have instances of infrastructure not adequate to maintain the vast number of individuals who might have resided within that space. For example, you might have tracks instead of roadways. You might have a little gully instead of a established drainage system. You might have flooding because the space is not considered as primarily that for residential purposes. So as a result of that, persons tend to build buildings, and in the future it becomes a problem. Also, squatter settlements tend to be unsightly because squatter settlements is, as it says, squatters, persons who don't have legal tenure. What you find is that a lot of persons will not put much effort into constructing buildings that is of aesthetic, it considered valued in aesthetics, right? It is not looking all that wonderful. They would look it is, whilst it might not be as bad as slums, right, but it is not looking as great as building that is legal and it is well structured, right? As far as social services such as security, healthcare, education, because the area is not considered legally owned by the residents, a lot of the services that would be rendered to persons within legal spaces are not offered within this space. For example, you wouldn't find a police station, you wouldn't find a clinic, you wouldn't find schools, structured school. You might find basic school because basic school in Jamaica, practically persons tend to have their backyard basic, although that is changing. Backyard basic school, underneath the government of Jamaica education thrust, there's a change to actually there's a thrust to actually change all of that, right? There's a lot of things that may occur within unplanned illegal settlements. Sometimes it depends on where these settlements are located. Over time, these settlements become accepted as as a norm, and they are given status such as legal status, right? Such as legal tenure, right? Squatter settlement is not one that is uh, at the forefront for development within any society, right? It is something that a lot of government officials actually try to avoid. There's a lot of reasons why squatter settlements might occur, but this video is not for that. This video is actually to point out factors which influence squatter settlements. Okay, so let's underline the three factors. One, you do not have uh structured social services being offered within squatter settlement areas. Squatter settlement areas, right? Two, you do not have proper sanitation, right? Social services such as water and light and sewage treatment is not there. And three, the infrastructure is not regulated, so therefore the buildings that are built in areas considered as squatter settlements are not really supervised when being constructed by the relevant authorities, such as the parish councils. Normally parish councils would send out their engineering team so as to check to see whether or not the buildings are being constructed properly, right? So as to avoid disasters in the future, the building dropping down on the individuals within the building and all of that, right? Within a squatter settlement, that is not looked at. So as a result of that, the safety of the individuals within these spaces are of primary concern. In another video, I will be looking at slums and the consequences of squatter settlements. Thank you very much for stopping by. I hope that this video was of value. Have a wonderful day. Peace out. Catch you next time.